Hi, I'm Essie.
And I'm Elle.
Welcome back to Magic and Mayhem. Okay, so today we're going to do something a little bit different, kind of like a challenge.
Yeah, a reading
A
challenge.
reading challenge. I've seen this on multiple people's channels. J.D. Ray Reads has done this. I believe Olivia Reads a Latte has done this.
Reads it all.
Yeah, has done this. A whole bunch of people have done this video. Where we read for 24 hours. Now, it's not like a consecutive 24 hours because we're old and we cannot stay up for 24 hours in a shot and still be happy people. But, so we're going to have 24 hours on timer on our phone, and whenever we're reading, start the timer and let it count, and then see how many books we end up reading by the time that 24 hours has passed. So, that's what we're going to do. So, and I don't think we have any specific plans as far as what we're planning to read. I think it's just whatever we feel like at the time.
Yeah, kind of more on a whim and just pick from a stack of books. My plan is just to pick from a stack of books and go forth and see what I can get done.
Yeah, I think my plan is just whatever I feel like, which right now, I don't really feel like anything long or too hard to get through, so we'll see how this goes. But,
my plan is to start with a long book.
Oh, interesting.
Because usually a book like that will take me a day to read. So theoretically, mine might be only one book.
Oh, I highly doubt that, though.
Well, I mean, you do think about it. You assume it takes you a day, but you aren't reading the entire day.
Yeah, you're not reading for 24 hours straight.
So we'll see.
But yeah, I feel like if you pick a really big book, it'd be only like a couple books. Also, see, the goal is not really to read like as many books as we can. That's not really the point. The point is just to see how much we can read, just at our normal reading speed, in 24 hours worth of time. So, I mean, the goal is to hopefully we get through some books, but
yeah, that's generally the idea.
So, but it's not like see how many you can fit in. Like we're not trying to do that. Just whatever we end up reading. So.
Dun, 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 dun.
If you think I'm not leaving that, you're mistaken. Okay, so we're back. We have read the things. I tried to remember to like take a screenshot of my timer sometimes. It didn't always happen. I don't know if it'll end up in the final video, but I tried to remember to. But we have read the things. I think it took a little bit less than a week for both of us. Yeah. You read faster than I did. Or like you got through the 24 hours faster than I did.
Well, except for I ran into a snag along the way, because one of the books I picked up, when I initially looked at it, it did not say St. Martin's Press. And then I just had the inkling to double check online, and then it turned out to have been, in fact. So I had to go back how much time I thought I had been reading that. It's not an exact science because I was not completely certain how long I had read that book for, but I had to erase that time off of my timer. So I was not incredibly thrilled about it.
We'll start with you. With like how many you read.
Okay, the number was essentially 7.5 because the last book I got a bit over halfway through, but I did not quite finish that one.
It counts.
So 8-ish.
It counts as 8. And I read a total of 9. I did get like 30 pages into a 10th book, but I'm not counting that because I didn't get that far into it. So
okay, the first book I read was The Two Towers, The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. This one is a reread. I did expect it to take a considerable amount longer than it actually took me, 3 to 4 hours or something.
Jeez, okay.
So
fast.
I was timing myself, but not necessarily per book exactly.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And obviously I like this book. I feel like I do like it just a bit more than the first one. It has more action, really. So
that is true.
The other one is all set up.
Yeah, which it kind of has to be.
The second book is a little bit more fun.
Speaking of fun, so first thing I read, which was actually also for a readathon, so that went really well together, is the Pokemon Adventures, the Collector's Edition, Volume 1. So it's like a bind up, I think, of 3. I was actually kind of surprised. I forgot how much fun the stories are. Like, I haven't read or watched Pokemon since I was probably like a teenager, maybe. I forgot how much fun it is. I really, really love how Red treats his Pokemon. He treats them very, very well. Considering, like, they're fighting, you know, them aside, which it does talk about that in there too, like the ethics of making them fight, but
it is a dark concept if you really think about it.
Although in Red's case, he always tells his Pokemon it's up to them if they want to. They don't have to, which I like. There was a little bit of a constant, like, how is he getting out of this kind of feeling through the whole thing, but it was still fun, and it's probably because it's a bind up. That's probably why it feels that way, but I had a good time.
My next book it's a graphic novel, Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. This one, it is fun. It is dark and mysterious, obviously, as you would guess. It's got lots of witchy vibes, lots of mystery and intrigue and friendship and familiars.
Then I read That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, which wasn't on my TBR, but it was for Kayla's book club. And I am shocked at how much fun it was. I was not expecting to have such a good time. I kind of thought it was like, you know, smut. It's really not. There's spice in it, but it's not really smut. Loved the plot. Had such a good time with that. All the demon friends, like the found family. I absolutely adored it. The romance was cute. It wasn't like my favorite romance of all time, but I really liked the characters separately. Together they were fine. Like, I didn't have a problem with it. It was like the side characters and like the main character, Cinnamon, and like the plot that's what I really loved about it. It was a lot of fun.
My next book was called The Drift by C.J. Tudor. This one is a ride and a half. It's got kind of a zombie undertone, but they're not. But they are, but they're not. So this is very extremely morally ambiguous, and no one's very. I won't say what. No one. Few people are really good people, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, or otherwise. Most of them die, so be prepared for mostly the entire cast. We have a lot of people in all these different scenarios, and there's all kinds of things going on, and mostly everyone dies. So be prepared. Be prepared, but it is quite a trip.
Then I read Wild is the Witch. Yay me, for reading something off my TBR.
That is one thing I didn't really stick to. I didn't stick to my TBR at all.
I read 1 out of 9. I'm not really doing much better. But you did close enough.
I read also one of
right.
One of them.
I only read 1 TBR book. So going in, I was not expecting the book to make me cry. Definitely did. You can definitely like feel like the emotions of the main character, Iris. Because she definitely has some hard stuff that she goes through and all that. It was not as lighthearted as I was expecting it to be, but it was still really, really good. It also wasn't the outcome I was expecting, but it makes sense. I think that's the only way it really would have made sense, because obviously actions have consequences. But it still
Who would have thought?
Right? A lot of people don't think that. But, so it makes sense in the way that it did. It just wasn't what I was expecting, because it's like a YA, so I thought everything would be, like, perfectly wrapped, and everything would be fine, and all that, and no, there were consequences. Yeah, wasn't expecting to be so emotional.
Alright, my next book is Black Mage by Daniel Barnes and DJ Kirkland. This one was a lot of fun. It also has a lot of historical characters that I was really pleased to see. It is about racism, and I think that should be obvious, but it is very influenced. Like, some of the characters in it are ghosts of Harriet Tubman and such, and it's about horrible, basically the KKK members who opposed them and took control of. And so it is, a lot of the characters are extremely annoying because, granted, they are kind of caricatures, but they're also not that far off the mark, unfortunately. So, but it's a fun read regardless. And the characters, some of them you truly hate and want them to die, and that was one of the things I did not necessarily like, was that they didn't all die. But it is more death, but it is more geared towards younger readers. So I understood why they did not kill them. I was just somewhat saddened by the lack of death in the characters that I was hoping to see. But the other characters are very lovable. So definitely worth the read.
Next I read The White and Blue Between Us. So this was a manga that I don't remember how I found it. I did not enjoy it overly. The story was kind of all over the place. The main character had done something really not okay, like back in the day, and then they like met up like 8 or 10 years later or something. And I didn't think that the main character should have been taken back, because he did and continued to do horrible things, in my opinion. And there was a scene that was like, I would say either dubious consent or non-consent. I don't know. One of the two. It gave me the ick. I did not like it. So I wasn't really a fan of that one. But I did read it, so.
My next one was A Tempest of Tea, Blood and Tea #1. This one, there's some twists in it you don't necessarily see coming until a bit before they happen. There's hints throughout, but it's about magic and vampires and tea houses and kind of the cast of characters that is just stubborn, and there's heists and all these things. I really enjoyed reading it. It does definitely end on a bit of a cliffhanger. It was a ton of fun. It is classified, I believe, as adventurous and mysterious. It is historical fantasy, and the main character was a ton of fun to read. The love interests were fine. I would have preferred some of them be friends rather than love interests, but some of the love interests for some of the characters I was fine with. Some I was ish, but did not detract from the fun.
So the next one is actually just a short story called Mistletoe. Is the short story after That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. This is the one between book 1 and book 2. I didn't love it as much as I loved the novel. Obviously, it's a short story. There's only so much you can do, but the romance moved way too fast to me because, again, it's a short story. But and it was that one. The short story is more like smut to me than the actual novel was. Again, I realize you only have so many pages, but like a lot of it was spicy scenes. But I liked the characters still. Okay, the curse was hilarious. Like literally extra points just for the curse. So funny. And Alexis is one of my new favorite characters in the whole series, and I have been told that she continues into the rest of the series, and I'm so excited about it. Alexis is a talking sword.
Oh, there you go.
It was worth reading the short story just for her. It was hilarious. But yeah, the story overall, I'm like, it was just fine.
This one actually was on my TBR. Yay me.
Yay!
So I got one there. But it's Witch King.
Oh, I didn't realize you read it.
Yeah, I did. This one was also one of those that you just feel like it was quite a ride. Like you know it's gonna be a wild ride when you wake up essentially in a dead body.
Oh.
And
lovely.
There are like more or less wizards trying to extract your soul and put it into the you were following the Witch King, and yeah, that's how this poor guy wakes up. They're trying to there's his body. They're then trying to put him into another vessel that they feel that they can control, and he essentially says fuck you, and
fair.
He does take over the vessel they intended, but they in fact did not control him the way they assumed they were going to be able to. And he was, of course, grouchy when he woke up.
Yeah.
He also acquires this child through this who was also supposed to be another vessel, like a backup vessel. And he's like, obviously, he didn't kill her. And he's like, hey, you want to go find some stuff? And she's like, sure.
Yeah, right.
Why not?
Since I don't have to be a vessel now, sure.
And so he so that's how the book begins. The only thing that was a little annoying in the reading was we're in the present, then we time skip backwards. Sometimes it kind of was jarring because you'd have one chapter and you're reading in the present, and all of a sudden, you're back in the past for the setup. I understood why we were doing it because you needed to learn why they had been where they were and how this happened. It was a lot of fun to read. There was all kinds of, obviously, magic, and we get a super sassy witch who's also was imprisoned the same way he was, and who is extremely pissed off because she has absolutely no idea where her wife is.
Oh.
So she's pissed
yeah,
off.
I would be too.
And that was who the girl was supposed to be the vessel for, was her, which they started with him. They didn't get far.
No.
But yeah, she also wakes up unhappy.
Yeah.
As one would assume.
Yeah.
Because her wife they can't find her. They were both in the same place, but her wife is not. And so the book is spent trying to figure out where she is, more or less. Not entirely, but yes. So there's lots of political plots, and it's a lot.
Good, right?
It's a good ride. It was fun.
Okay, so the next one I read is Perfect Blend. This was really cute. So this was a little bit on the it was like a novella, I think. I did like there was actually communication. Hallelujah. We love to see it. They actually acted like adults again.
Rare sometimes.
Love to see it. It was that's very cute. I did think it was a little bit fast moving, but again, it was a novella, and also when you meet the characters, they already know each other. Like, they've known each other for years at that point by the time that you come in, and it doesn't flash back or anything. It tells you a little bit, like, about how they knew each other before and what their relationship was like and then and whatever. So, like, they've already known each other for, like, 15 years or more by the time by the time that you come in. So, like, yeah, it was a little fast, but not really. And I mean, they hadn't been in contact the whole time, but like they knew each other. And then they also had been it's complicated. They had been contacted, but they didn't know who each other were. It was very cute. I liked it a lot. And one of them owned a coffee shop, and I was like, coffee.
That is nice.
Coffee. And now the whole week was it focused mostly on 1 week, and it was the Pride Week of a small town, and that was so cute too. All the side characters were absolutely adorable, and I loved all of them. And like hearing about all the festivities, and I'm like, I wish I knew a town like this.
My next book is called The Fullness of Time. I read a lot of books that are just, you could just immediately describe them as a trip. This was another one.
You had lots of trippy books.
Yes, because this one, The Fullness of Time, it is about a reporter who thinks they have a story, but they do not realize what story they have. And it is a lot more of a story than they ever expected it to be. They were interviewing this eccentric, kind of weird guy that they think might have been into corporate espionage. And so she's trying to lull this guy into a false sense of security and is doing a fine job of it. And then he starts spilling all kinds of things. And then she's like, huh. This might be more than I expected, and starts digging, and it's a lot going on, and the reporter is, and her team is like, well, maybe let's not. So it's a trip. It is a trip.
So my next one was called Upside Down. So this was really sweet and cute. The main character, well, I mean, there's two main characters, but I found Jordan really relatable and cute. Really, really enjoyed the Ace rep and how that was addressed. Because in the beginning of the story, Jordan's still figuring himself out and figuring out, if he is asexual and what that means and all that. So it was really nice to kind of be on the journey with him with that. And all their friends and the bus crew, oh my gosh, I love them so much. I wish that I had that in my life because they're so adorable and they're so sweet. But yeah. Also, Jordan is a librarian, so extra points for that.
Nice.
Always extra points for librarian. And the love interest was really sweet too. But I love both of them. They're both very sweet and cute.
Okay, my last book is The Invocations, Crystal Sutherland. So this one I did not completely finish. I have since finished it, obviously, but I did not completely finish it during the timer. But this one I liked a lot. It was a lot of fun. You follow essentially 3 witches. Witches, not all of them that you follow, but witches in this world make deals with demons, which actually, I would say the demons lean a lot also towards more fae creatures, because you make deals with them and they feel kind of fae-esque as well. This one is, I would say it leans a little bit more thriller than horror. It does have some horror because you have some necromancy that goes on, and there's a lot to do with the necromancy. Probably still more mysterious leaning, and kind of because there's someone killing witches, and these 3 girls plus a very reluctant officer who does not want anything to do with the occult that they are a part of. That therefore this officer is quite reluctant to be necessarily willing to believe what the 3 girls believe is happening. Someone is killing the clients of one of these witches, and these girls kind of team up together to find out what is going on. And some of them have the more wholesome side of family. Some of them have the extremely darker side of family. If you're triggered by this, you would want to be careful. It talks about domestic violence and the reason that women might make these deals. But it's a good book. There was lots of funny moments. The character Jude is especially funny.
So then next I read The Heartbreak Handshake. That's hard to say. But I did it. Woo! This was another asexual. I really enjoyed it. It was very cute. One of the characters is a non-binary artist who likes to, do their art and travel around in their van. And then the other character is a handyman who moved to this town a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. They moved to the artist's hometown. And so the artist comes back to stay with their parents for a little bit because their van broke down. And they end up meeting or whatever and agreeing to go on 3 fake dates because the artist's mother wants them to date, and the handyman's like, hey, if it gets her off our back for like a little while, because she keeps trying to set both of them up all the time. And so that's what they do. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute. There was also Autistic Rep. I can't speak to how good it was, but it seemed well done, and I really enjoyed it. I do wish the ending was a bit abrupt, and I kind of wish there was more to the ending. Like, even just, like, another chapter or so, I think would have been nice to have, because it kind of just stopped. And I was like, wait, but where's the rest? But then that, it was really cute. And then my last one, it's called Stubbed Toes and Dating Woes. Which is, I really wanted more out of this one. It was fine. Like, again, there was Autism Rep, which I enjoyed. Again, these characters, well, not only do they know each other before the story starts, but they already are in love with each other before the story even starts. But they're not aware that the other person loves them.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if that's what it is, or it's just the fact that it's a little bit of a shorter story. It was like a novella. But you don't really feel, like, the relationship doesn't really feel genuine or deep or anything, because you're not in, like, any part of it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, pretty much immediately when it starts, the story, they figure out that they have feelings for each other, but you don't see why or what led up to them falling for each other or anything. And so, I don't know, I didn't really, like, connect with the story at all. So, I mean, it wasn't bad, though. That's the other thing, too, because it was, like, brother's best friend romance, which a lot of people are into that. I don't really care. So you think, like, it's going to be a big deal when the brother finds out, and then it's not.
Yeah.
Like, he's mad for, like, 30 seconds, and then he's like, why didn't you all get together sooner? And they're like, what? You were just about to, like, punch me a second ago. It's like, yeah, I got over it.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole story was kind of like that. Everything was very abrupt. And, like, and then there was, like, this bully character that really annoyed me. And I really wanted to see something happen with them, and nothing happens.
Oh.
I'm like, then why put them in the story if nothing's gonna happen? Kind of sucked to end the challenge on a 3-star, but it is what it is. It was just fine. That was all the books. What did we think of the experiment?
I read a lot more books than I expected.
Yeah? I think
you feel like 24 hours isn't that long.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it felt long when we were doing it.
It's long. It's actually very long.
When we were doing it, I'm like, please go down fast. This is taking forever.
Well, because, you think, you're like, oh, I read this in a day.
Yeah.
And so, I'll probably get, like, a book. If it's long, I'll get, like, a book out of this challenge. In your mind, you're like, one or two. Yeah. But you don't factor in the fact that, you're not reading for 24 hours. And we weren't reading for 24 hours straight either. No. But, you read a lot more than you expect to. Because normally when you're not on a 24-hour clock, it's a vastly different thing.
Surely this used up like 7 or 8 hours. No, it sure didn't.
even Lord of the Rings didn't dent my timer very much. And I started with Lord of the Rings, the second book.
Yeah.
I think actually the first one was longer, so maybe that would have dented it a little more, but second one might have been a slight bit shorter.
Yeah, but you expected it to take a while, though.
Yeah, I expected a lot more time to be eaten up by a long book.
Although I didn't really read any long books, so yeah, I definitely didn't expect to read 9, even short ones. 4 or 5 more. I have to read more. Okay, hold on. And the fact that we were trying to get done within a week, and I was like, come on,
yes, we were trying to get it done, and successfully did do so, even with my mishap. Still did get it done pretty quickly, which was the goal as well. But read a lot. It's amazing how many books you can get through.
would you do the challenge again?
I probably would do the challenge again, just and see if I could see if I could beat.
True.
To see if I could beat it. Not necessarily all the time. I wouldn't want to be on a timer all the time, but
yeah, no.
To see if I could beat myself, maybe.
I think it'd be interesting to see, yeah, if you beat yourself, but not as far as like books, but as far as pages.
Oh, right.
Because I think that would be a better judge of like how much you read. Because like in my case, yeah, I read 9 books, but a lot of them were short, so I actually only read like 2,100 pages. Also, actually remember to start the freaking timer.
Yeah, sometimes that was a challenge. You'd pick up the book and start and be like, oh no, my timer. Don't forget the timer.
How many times did I tell you I forgot the timer? Just that I would do it again too. That was fun. So maybe you'll see an episode like this from us again in the future sometime.
Yeah, had a lot of fun. So that's our challenge. Thanks for listening to Magic and Mayhem. All right, bye.